Yeah, he should be here. Okay, perfect. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, GoldenEnd.
Okay.
Hello, man. How are you doing? How
Hello.
are you feeling?
Uh, I'm fine, but just a bit disappointed about the lag. I couldn't micro my monks that Valley Fort game.
Oh, the Valley
Couldn't
Fort.
get any converts in.
Yes. Well, first of
A bit
all,
disappointed.
congrats because you played very well. You were also the author of some very unorthodox plays that we want to talk about with you.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, the first question from me is going to be, what was the militia for in Valley Fort?
Oh, the one militia.
Yeah.
Well, I saw you had no loom, and I didn't want to win. So I was like, well, maybe I can kill with one militia. Maybe I can kill one. I didn't want to do the militias. That was the point. So I did one.
This is coming through a little robotic on my end. I wonder what's going on.
Yeah, on my end as well. It's not so bad though. I can understand him quite well. You were able to get the scout, right? I think still.
Yeah, I got a fill with one militia as well, but it was good. Think it was worthy.
I figured, personally, I figured as much because it had to be one of two things. Like either you noticed that his villagers didn't have loom, or the fact that you saw the deer outside your base dying. So you probably knew that he was there taking deer, and so you might have tried to like harass his villagers, his hunters.
Yeah, it was just I just saw his vills outside and I sent one militia. It wasn't really a plan or something.
Right.
It wasn't so.
I see.
Okay, just on the fly. So yeah, there's something else that, also very unfortunate, the lag situation in Valley Fort. We noticed that you lost, unfortunately, a lot of monks to conquistadors. Do you think it was probably the lag to blame?
Yeah, it was the lag to blame, but still, the conquistadors are strong even without lag. So, congrats to Belgium for good micro, I guess.
Right. So
Question in
Joshua.
chat.
Question from
How
chat.
does it feel to?
No, that is not a real question.
It's a troll question by the looks of it. I don't even know what that is.
No.
I think I know how to pronounce that.
So yeah, do you want to talk, Joshua, about the final game and probably what's the most interesting play of the whole tournament?
Oh yes, Salt Marsh. Last game.
Yeah,
So, man.
Yeah.
I went for Dressfest Castle there because my map was so good. I could walk easy. I thought if I was doing Dressfest Castle with the crossbows, I could maybe kill him, but I knew he was gonna go demo ships. I was trying to find a spot where I could, go over and not cross the water.
I see.
But yeah, there was no spot, and I couldn't really go with my crossbows. And then he had the control with the water, and I never really got back from that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't seen all that much of Bugham's gameplay, but because a lot of the times in like these high-level games, when someone tries Drushfast Castle, the other player, either they'll kill off the Drush like quickly and just go forward, or they'll just ignore the Drush completely. Like, for example, MBL. You tried against MBL, or really any Aftermath members, they're just gonna say, "Screw your Drush. I'm gonna go forward with like 4 or 5 villagers, and I'm gonna tower your ass."
Yeah,
so
but
were you worried at all that was gonna happen?
Yeah, I was thinking about that he could do that, but I was feeling safe if he would do that because I had such a good map. I could just make some walls, defensive towers, and still be okay. So I was fine if he was doing.
Well, one defensive tower, because the way you walled your base, I noticed, your stone was still very vulnerable. And it was a very weird stone generation, too.
Stone generation.
It was supposed to be 2 separate mines, and then it was the two mines just stuck together. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that was an issue. I wanted to take stone earlier, but he could reach that with his long bow ships. So I was like, what I'm gonna do? Should I go maybe rams and pikes? Or should I try to get stone? Well, at the end, I could take some stone. But it was dangerous indeed. The stuff wasn't
Yeah,
great.
it was, and we definitely saw it. I was kind of pointing out the longboats at the time, they couldn't reach your vills because they had no range upgrades. But I was thinking,
Yeah.
once he gets enough range upgrades on these guys, that stone's going to be GG. I figured that much, and it turned out to be true.
Yeah, exactly what
and also,
happened.
let's stop dilly dallying. We'll get right to the point.
There we go.
So, basically, late Castle, early Imperial Age, the pikes.
Yeah, they have an attack bonus against the longbow, so that's why I went for
So
that.
you knew about that too.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Bugum knew about that too, because I'm curious, because a lot of even me for a moment, because it took me a while to remember that they had the bonus against ships, even though I did know it in the back of my mind. Like the stream chat also was kind of what the fuck, like WTF, like what's he making pikes for?
I think Belgium knew it, but still.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, if he didn't, he realized it right away. He pushed his longboats back.
Yeah, those are very, very good use of the bonuses. And that's something, of course, that you don't see a whole lot, as you don't usually see land units fighting boats, but with this kind of tournaments and this kind of settings, that starts to happen a little bit more and more often. So, yeah, do you have any other questions, Joshua?
No, I guess we can go straight to well, actually, maybe there's one more minor was.
Sure.
Well, so, well, it's not really so much of a question, but more like, all those holes in the walls that Bugum had like the first two games, like two, 3 games.
Yeah, that was great indeed. I saw those holes every time, and I just go for them, and I win the game.
Yeah. I was wondering to myself, like the first game, the Double Arabia, like could Bugum have potentially won that had that hole not been there?
Maybe. I'm not sure about that. I think so, actually, because that hole, he was completely idle of gold when I came there with knights, and then he had to protect that. So I think,
right.
Yeah, it was good for him. I mean, bad for him.
So yeah, how much are you getting for second place?
$300 if I'm correct.
That's nice. That's nice.
1 year platinum. Yes.
So yeah, I want to know as well. What do you think about what if you like the tournament, the settings, and what do you think about having these kind of tournaments, probably targeted to good players, but without targeting the same top tier, top 15 players that we always see in all the tournaments?
Yeah, well, you see in all the tournaments, you see like AM, Secret, and in this kind of tournament, you see like the top under that, the subtop.
Agree.
I really like that, and all these settings, I felt like the tournament. I mean, I won all my series with just 1 point more. And,
the
I
tournament.
felt like everyone could win it.
Oh, all right. So yeah, I also enjoyed it a lot, and I hope to see more of this kind of games, and I hope to see more of you guys. And do you feel like you're an aspiring expert? Do you feel like you're gonna try and up yourself?
Well, to be honest, I'm not that good on water. I'm really way better at Arabia than those water maps where you need to make a lot of decisions. But yeah, I think I growth in the tournament. I feel like I practiced a lot, and yeah, it was good for me. That's why I think I got so far.
Lots of top players, lots of decent players don't like water too much. I think so. You're definitely not alone in that.
Yep, not the only one.
There's a nice little question a while back, I guess, from the chat. LeoGend wants us to ask you about what the toughest thing in this tourney or format was.
That's a good
kind
question.
Kind of open-ended, I guess.
The toughest thing.
I guess it's very open-ended.
This is a hard one.
Map types or whatnot. Something like that.
Right.
Well, I guess getting to know the maps is really hard, because you can do a lot of strats on each map, and I'm searching for the best strat on a map, I was practicing a lot. Is this strat better? Is that strat better? And yeah, that was the hardest thing.
So
any
yeah.
sorts of
Oh, go ahead.
I think in a connection with that also, a lot of these maps included water, whether definitely not full water, just like a combination of the two. And usually those kinds of maps, it's always kind of tricky, like balancing your commitment on land compared to your commitment on water.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
I guess for me the final question would be probably about your re in Saltmarsh. What triggered it? Because from the caster's point of view, I think we probably preferred your first map. Of course, you cannot know that you're gonna get a worse map afterwards, but what is it that you didn't like about the first time?
I saw my map was good actually. The gold in the back, good woods, pretty far from the shoreline. But then I saw my berries and it was like,
oh yeah,
they were on the other side, really close to the water.
Behind the wood lane, right?
It was 4-2 as well, and it was maybe the last game, so I just wanted to risk it and call it and I think actually the second one, so with better berries. And since those berries are also that huge, I want them in a good spot.
Right, that makes sense.
I guess that's fair. I mean, I personally wouldn't give the berries much thought. I usually put a lot more emphasis on the minerals, but yeah, it's typically how the random map generation to work. You got great everything, but there's always that one or two resources that just give you a headache.
Yep.
So yeah, do you have any more questions, Joshua? I think that's it for me.
No, that's it for me. Yeah.
So GoldenEnd, thank you so much for the interview and congrats on the money. You played very well, so feel very good. All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See ya.
Okay, man. See you. Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, how are you, Mr. Bugum?
I'm doing good.
I can imagine. Congratulations on winning the Aspiring Experts tournament.
Thank you.
So yeah, we just had an interview with GoldenEnd. There are a couple of games that we would like to go through and ask you a couple of questions. So probably the first thing that comes to mind for everyone is, how do you feel about walling and elevations, man?
Do you mean the
holes?
Yeah. Well, I had a hole in the first and the second game.
Yeah.
The first game, like, I probably misclicked one tile, and then I walled like that it was still open, and then the second game was just like you said, the elevation. But luckily I was castle age, and then I could already make knights, and he didn't do that much damage. But that was still pretty bad.
I think in the first game when a couple of the knights snuck in, I think you did lose like 7 villagers, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was so bad.
The thing was like I didn't expect it, so that's why it probably looked like I reacted really late. That was just because I felt like I was completely walled, so I didn't have to look there. And then I saw some notifications, and I was like, oh, what's happening? And then I saw like, how did knights get in? I quickly looked, and then I saw like, oh freak, I forgot too.
It was so painful because you walled that area. You did wall that area, so you knew it was there. You needed 2 tiles of palisades to cover. You only had 1, and then they were able to sneak in through the other. That was just. It sucked to watch. It must have been painful.
Probably that was the thing that lost me the game, and like I didn't have anything to deal with the knights at that base. And then I just tried to do some counter raiding and immediately go to another gold, because that was the only gold I was taking. But he really did the damage in that base. Like that entire base was almost idle with the eco, and then I was just too much behind, and then was GG.
Yeah, that's about half your eco. Do you think things would have been dramatically different if there was not a hole?
Yeah, I think then it would have just been an even game. He would have probably tried to break, but then I can just re-wall or repair the palisade gates and then raid him, because he was open on both his bases. And ideally you want to have both bases walled, but
Speaking of openness, your right base in that map, the Double Arabia, was ridiculously open. That base was twice as open as GoldenEnd. It was both of GoldenEnd's bases put together.
It was
And that was saying something.
Yeah, like that. If you have a base that you can easily wall, you don't want to have military there, and you want to have your military with the open base, because if he raids there, then you instantly have knights there to protect yourself. But
And also, GoldenEnd himself also made some curious decisions that game. From his eco base, I think, he actually was streaming in monks after he saw your nuts. He was streaming in monks from one base to the other instead of building the monastery defensively in his military base.
Yeah.
I guess maybe he felt his eco base was more, and since it wasn't under attack, he just moved the monks over to the other base. I don't know. Maybe
he did get some conversions, so it was definitely worth it. But yeah.
All right. So moving on, games. I think we saw a couple more holes. Probably in Two Rivers there was one, but it was not so significant because it was only a couple of archers without fletching. But I want to talk about Valley Fort, if that's okay for you, Joshua, or do you have any questions about any other games?
No, I mean we can get right into Valley.
Okay. Oh, actually, we can talk about Bedouins, since you spent both of your Rees over there. From the caster's point of view, your first map or your first TC location was actually better than GoldenEnd's, but there was no way for you to know that. How bad do you think that map was, or that TC location was for you, and why did you feel compelled to use both of your Rees in a single map?
Yeah, so like you said, the first game I felt really good with my map, but then unfortunately he called a re, and then the second game, like, it was not only that I felt my spot was not that good, but also that I had my TC pretty late up, because I was watching the score and then I saw like when you drop score, you know someone is building TC, and then when they get like 40-50 points, their TC is built, and I saw that this was like 30 seconds before mine, and I didn't feel that great about my spot, so I just called a re. And then the second game, I TC'd on like this really long stretch of shorefish, but I didn't have any wood nearby, and ideally you want to have at least one tree that's quite close to your TC so you can build a lumber camp, and I didn't have that one, so I was just like, okay, I'll call, and yeah.
Good thinking over there. So yeah, after that we had the final map of the set, which was Salt Marsh. Do you have any comments or commentary to make about the pikemen?
Well, like a lot of people, they laugh about pikemen, but actually they have a bonus against ships. They have like, I believe, +10 or +12 against ships, so... Well, it was not
Halbs
that bad.
I know have +17, but I'm not sure about pikes. It's definitely
yeah, pikes also have some bonus, probably like +10 or +12, but I think he just needed to have like some more cap ram, because he did some early pushes, but it was just with regular rams and not cap ram, and I think then he could have destroyed my castle.
Which he eventually did, with like 8 capped rams.
Yeah, like both the castles went down pretty much same time.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, like, when you saw the pikes, like, you were aware that they had this against ships.
Yeah, I knew that.
Thinking maybe
there was
it could
like
have been something.
one fight that I wasn't really paying attention, and then I looked back, and then I saw a lot of ships go down.
Yeah.
And then I just moved them back, because in the center area you have the shallows, obviously, but then there are some parts that are just water, so you can always position your ships there, and then they can't reach you.
Yeah, it was either that, or maybe you didn't know they had the bonus against ships, and then so once you saw the longboats going down en masse, then that's when you pulled back and you realized that they had the attack bonus.
Yeah,
it had to be one or the other.
So yeah, about that game as well. Was it quite evident to you that he was trying to go for Trash FC? And if so, how confident were you, or what is the reason why you didn't try to go for any sort of field pressure and just let him get away with it?
Yeah, so I scouted his gold, and I saw that he had mined 10 golds, and he sent a second field there. And I was thinking, okay, either he's gonna go for Drush, or he will go Man at Arms. And then I saw his barracks, so I was pretty sure he would go Drush. And then he went to my berries, and then I was like, because I didn't go onto gold, I was like, okay, we'll just make 2-3 scouts, wall up, and then go Castle Age. And my eco was probably better than his when I went up, because I had double bit X and horse collar, and then I just had to make sure I was walled. And I was thinking, okay, I will go 2 ranges, but then I thought it's probably better to get longbows and the map control early on, and that worked out pretty good.
It's something I'm trying to kind of master myself, because I'm like an intermediate level player, like 1700 Vubli, and I have pulled off some decent up times after just going scouts, just like a handful of scouts, and I think my best time was like probably just over like 20 minutes exactly, and so I noticed your uptime was around like the 19-ish. I think it was 19 exactly. Of course, the free wheelbarrow helps for the Vikings, but
yeah, really, yeah,
something I can probably help fine-tune a little bit.
So speaking of which, Belgium, you did a good job, and you played super strong all tournament long. I would like to know how you see yourself right now. Do you think you're playing better than ever? And I would like to know, what do you think is probably separating you from the top tier, top 15 level of players, and if you are planning to pursue that?
Yeah, so I probably, the thing that still separates me is like some smaller micro mistakes. I always rewatched my series, and I noticed that a lot of times when I was busy doing something else, I threw away a lot of archers, for example, to TC or mangonels. So I just need to get a little bit better multitasking, and yeah, probably like some small decision making.
That's something we noted during the games too, Nova. Both players, honestly, they're just losing their units willy-nilly just because their attention is having to be divided in so many places. Struggling
to keep up with that. Well, do you have any other questions, Joshua?
Did you guys have questions about Valleyford? Because we kind of went over that one without saying anything.
Oh yeah.
Our questions were more for GoldenEnd, I think. Well, actually, for the militia that he decides to forward screw up your hunters with.
But also, we could potentially talk about the lag over there. What happened? Do you have any idea what happened? Do you think it would have been different if it was a little bit smoother?
Yeah, but I still think I would have won, because, like, okay, normally Mayans is the best map on Registered Fortress, but you only have palisades here, so like I did with like the mangonels and the conchs, it's really hard for Mayans to stop.
Yeah, it's kind of easy to break through the palisade walls,
because there was like really big lag, like without getting like 4 or 5 second delay. Because I have like conchs and mangonels, they are pretty tanky units, but he has to micro a lot with the plumes to kill my units, and I think it was actually worse for him than it was for me. We
noticed that it was super demanding for him to try and keep up with your conquistadors and the mangonel.
It seemed like things smoothed out once he did reset his router. That there was a noticeable enough performance difference?
Yeah, but it was only in the last game that he did it, so...
I see.
Yeah.
If only...
Well,
probably the one thing that I could have done better, but I'm not sure. Like, I built the siege workshop on the left side, but then I realized that his gold was on the side of his castle.
Oh,
I guess it was kind of even, because I think I killed a decent amount of vills with mangonel on his wood.
Yeah, the first workshop was behind his base. Yeah. So yeah, probably the final topic that I would like to touch is what do you think and how do you feel about the tournament in general, the settings and the whole concept of having tournaments for pro players or very good players that are usually not seen so much in the top tier tournaments, and having the possibility to expose yourself and to get, you know, covered in tournaments, that kind of stuff, and also the maps and settings. What do you think?
Yeah. So I really liked the tournaments. The maps were pretty like there was a lot of variety in it. Not only like land maps, but hybrid map. Probably I don't think there's like a pure water map in there. Maybe something like islands could have been added. But other than that, I think the maps were pretty good. One thing that I maybe want to have changed was the civ picking. I probably would have preferred to have a draft, but
Right.
yeah, with this, everywhere you can always pick your strongest civs. Of course, you do have the bans, but it's still not the same as a draft civ-wise.
Right.
Speaking of which, you mentioned pure water maps. So when we had GoldenEnd on a little bit earlier, he said he didn't feel like he was that good on water maps. What about yourself?
I wouldn't say I'm bad, but I'm also not that great of a water player.
I see.
Especially with the like fire galley stuff nowadays, where it's just like fire galleys and demos, and then you have to make sure you pull the weak ones back, repair them and stuff like that. I preferred the old galley wars a bit better, but
that seems to be a common theme that I hear from. Like T90 would mention that he thought the old galley micro wars were a lot more. I think he said elegant and whatnot. Just things like that. But personally, I don't really care enough about what I care about how it was back in the good old days, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right. Well, man, it was great. Do you have any other questions, Joshua?
Nope, I'm good to go.
Okay, thank you so much, Belgium, and once again, congratulations, GG's, and very well played. You deserve it, man. And I hope to see you once again in playing these tournaments, and hopefully even regular main tournaments. I hope that you manage to qualify for those, because you have proven that you are truly an expert here.
Yeah, today I became an expert.
An expert for sure, officially. Okay, man. Thank you so much.
Given the right civ and map, I think I've seen you even take out Hera one time.
Yeah, I've beaten Hera with Khmer actually against Ethiopians, and that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was the game I'm remembering.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, thank you for taking the time, man. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, see ya.
See you, man.
All right, see you guys.